That's a horse pennant. That's a massive one. Ah!
Welcome back, Spearfishing Down Under. This is part 3 of the trip that Bryce and I did to Western Australia just a couple of years ago. If you missed the last 2 parts, we did a shore dive out near Shark Bay, dove 2 days off Shark Bay, and now Bryce and I jump in the car and head to Exmouth.
Go running, go back again. Oh, that. I didn't get to film you. I just got the camera on and just. Bryson was running down. Wendy says good morning.
Good morning. How you feeling?
Bryson said, how you feeling? Yeah, she's good.
I'm squishing flies in my thongs.
As I said in the last 2 videos, the flies were just so bad in Shark Bay. I was glad to get out of that place and head north to Exmouth. When we arrived, it was late at night. We had a quick sleep and decided the next morning that we'd get up and go diving. Now, the reason we were just straight into it is because a cyclone was coming. Now, it was flat enough, wind-wise wasn't so bad, but the swell was already starting to pick up. Incredible in the lead up to cyclones and weather events, you can see fish just be so thick. First dive I come down on a cave and it's just packed with red bait. If I saw this at home, I'd be just so excited. This is the sort of bait that means areas are gonna hold a lot of fish. It's breathing up on the surface and a big school of mackerels from under me. Again, just small fish, not really the fish that we wanted to shoot, but great to see big schools of mackerel anyway. Tried to swim up in the shallows, an area that I dove in the past and I'd seen big Maori sea perch. First dive in the shallows, I realised I'm going to get broken in half trying to swim through these gutters. The swell was way too bad for that. It's amazing when you see that ground swell coming off a cyclone. The waves weren't necessarily big, but the power to that swell is just unbelievable. Next dive, I came down into a cave and it had 3 barracuda in it. Now let me just say, people always talk about these barracuda pairing up for life. This thing was a threesome, I'm not sure what was going on there. Fortunately for them, in this area, we weren't allowed to shoot barracuda. Next dive, I come down on a coronation trout. The dumbest coronation trout the world has ever seen. He also knew that in this area he was protected. The next couple dives were just wild. Coming down into caves just filled with bait. Laying on the bottom and having big coronation trout just swim up to me. This would never happen on the east coast of Australia. Brian and I were swimming side by side and a whale shark comes swimming up to Bryson. It was strange to see on the back of this whale shark the marks of a prop where a boat had driven over the top of it. Brian and I were just taking turns, just looking through some of the holes, trying to find different fish. I landed on a hole that was covered in bait. When the bait spread underneath it, there's a big turtle just having to sleep under the bait. We came onto a really fishy area and I noticed there was some big red bass. Now on the east coast, we're not allowed to shoot these. West coast you can, and they actually taste okay. So I decided I wanted to shoot myself a red bass. Dove the bottom, hunting them. They weren't real keen on coming in. Straight away, my mind goes to chum. Those things love chum. Shot a trevally, started cutting it up. As soon as we started cutting up chum, red bass just cannot help himself eating the chum. Shot myself a red bass just around that 10 kilo mark. Such a cool fish, so powerful. Unfortunately, he bent my spear. At this stage, Lee Mitchell hadn't hopped in the water. He was just following us with a boat and we're just looking for fish. We're just diving together, taking turns, looking at some of the incredible country. Swimming through big caves. Another cave I found full of bait. Once I swum through the cave, come out the other side, again, 2 nice barracuda in this cave. Finally came to an area that looked really fishy, and I thought I'm gonna have a dive down and look into the caves below me. Got down in the cave, I was crawling through. I was getting surged really heavily by the swell. Sand was starting to stir up in the cave. There was heaps of bait. Mangrove jack flew past me. As I crept out of the cave, off in the distance, I could see a big Maori sea perch. Tried to creep forward, but I was getting surged. My gun was getting surged. That Maori sea perch gave me a pass by, but between me and the Maori sea perch was a silver drummer, and I cooked it. I completely missed this 10+ kilo Maori sea perch. Come to the surface, I was dying on the inside. All these years later, my inside's still dying, thinking of missing that fish. I reloaded my gun and swam around the other edge of the cave and dove down, and as I did, mid-water was another big Maori sea perch. I was trying to get to the bottom, but I was getting surged, and I was trying to stay calm, but I just choked it. Oh man, that Maori sea perch just drifted. I tried to get a shot, again got surged, and I clipped that thing high, it smoked off and tore off. As you can see, when I hit the surface, I wasn't real happy.
Dog! Ah! What happened, Timmy? What happened?
I was just breathing up here to dive, and I just dove, and as I dove, Maori swam underneath me.
On top.
On top, and I'm like, frick! and I come down top of him like I was mid-water, and he looked like you didn't see one, eh? He had like a chunk missing out of him where he'd been shot and lost. I followed him along the bottom. I come down, 10 kilos. I followed him and he swam out in front of me, and I'm like, and he's just come around like this. And I'm trying to follow him and I'm getting surged. And I'm like trying to hold my gun steady and I get surged, and he started going, I'm out of here. And I've gone surge, douche, and I hit him just a bit high, and he smoked me into that cave and tore off. I thought I'd swim around the other side of the rock after I reloaded, because I knew that there was a cave running into the middle of that reef. I dove thinking I couldn't get lucky enough to see it again, but as I got to the bottom, at the back of the cave, I noticed a Maori sea perch swim out, followed by the one that I just lost. Followed him in there, he gave me a shot, I shot him, I could not believe it. I raced in to grab him, and my camera just fell off my head. Pulled that fish out, got to the surface, had to go back and get my camera. Nightmare. Stupid strap on the camera had got loose, and the camera fell off my head. You got that flash open? Don't accelerate for a bit, the bit of gear's gone under the boat. Got him? You see that one? Bri did another dive in that cave to see if he could see the other Maori sea perch. Swum through that cave, didn't see it unfortunately. After Bri looked for that Maori sea perch and couldn't see it, he did a dive off the side. He was laying on the bottom scratching and noticed some moo come in. This is a species of fish Lee hadn't seen very often in WA. It's quite a large school. They didn't really want to know him. They were pretty spooky, which is how moo usually are. The moo are a large-eye sea bream in Australia. Moo is a Hawaiian name for these fish. I did a dive, hit the bottom, scratching. Noticed that school of moo come in. Oh, I was pretty keen, scratched, hid. Shot myself a nice moo. We said to Lee, drop the anchor, jump in. This is looking really fishy. This is a great spot to have a dive. And Lee begrudgingly put on the wetsuit. It was fairly blowy, quite swelly, but he jumped in to see if he could chase some fish as well. Me and Bri dove again together. I didn't actually realise Bri had dove just a little bit off me. I got to the bottom and there was a big school coming above me. Scratch, scratch, scratch. I nailed myself another beautiful moo. straight after I shot, Bri was still on the bottom. He kept scratching. The school come over to him and he shot himself one as well. 2 move in 1 dive, so cool. Doesn't matter, he found what I was going to point out to him anyway.
How cool was that? on dual dives. Check out this, he dove, shot one. I was on the bottom when he shot, he stayed there the whole time, and then I shot this. Dual dives.
Yeah. You want to jump and shoot one?
Mark one right here.
There's so many moves, they call it Moo Town. Did you see me shoot that one, Bri? The whole school just swung over my head. There's like 30 of them. I just stoned one from below. You want to pick it? Zero current. How far away? Drop the pick on it, eh? And jump in. Or you want me to...
Yeah, that's what the ground is like. That's a shot on it.
I was laying there, this thing come above me like this, and I've shot up and just freaking smashed it.
I thought Tim had gone up the crap further east, and so I dove, and I didn't realise I'd spooked him. I might have spooked him.
The swell was pretty hectic. You can see in most of those dives, just the push of that ground swell coming off that cyclone. Within 12 hours, the wind was absolutely howling, and within 24, that cyclone was right on top of Exmouth. Before my next dive, a tiger shark comes swimming straight underneath me. I actually enjoy swimming with tiger sharks. As you can see, they're usually so placid. Every now and then, as you've seen in the past of my videos, tiger shark grabbed a hold of my gun. But most of the time they're placid, just swim around you. Quite a cool animal to have in the water with you. Next couple dives, we actually started to get followed by some big potato cod. They are completely protected here in Australia and just a really inquisitive cod. Quite beautiful animals, and they'll come up in your face. They can actually be quite intimidating. Lee dove and I was watching him from the surface, and a big diamond trevally, big pennant fish come up and shot that pennant, smoked off, landing that pennant. Massive pennant! That's a horse pennant!
Couldn't help myself.
That's a massive one! Oh man, I don't know what it is about pennant fish and potato cod in Western Australia, but those things just love it. Man, that potato cod would not leave the thing alone all the way to the surface. Boy, I was like, I probably shouldn't leave this thing next to that thing. Eat it!
No one took that.
Just did a couple dives. Those potato cod just staring at us. Cool fish. Lee dove on them, staring in his face as well. It was my turn, I dove down and maybe that wasn't such a good idea, the charmer, eh? I want to film your hand feeding that tater, you film me. We decided, hey, let's take some of this chum that we're about to chum and see if we can feed these potato cod. And he fed that potato cod a big chunk of trevally.
That's cool footage.
Tell me that camera's on.
Yep. Did you film the whole thing?
Yep.
Oh man. When I could see one of them, I'm like, I hope that other one doesn't blindside me and just take my arm.
And he did.
Did you film it good?
Lee decided he shoot another trevally for more chum. I decided when he shot it, it was going to be fed to the potato cod as well. Probably not the greatest thing to do. Sorry to all the West Australia divers that are trying to dive in those spots now and potato cod are eating all your fish. But I thought I'd have some fun. Feed that potato cod, just grab a hold of him, give him a little pat. Beautiful critters. It was actually starting to get pretty rough and we'd done a little bit of chumming. And I thought I'll just do a couple more dives before we head off and put the boat on the trailer and head home. I headed to the bottom and just laying on the bottom, scratching, just see what would come in. To my surprise, in comes a nice Spanish around 20 kilos and an absolute monster. I drifted up off the bottom, made sure I got a good shot, stoned a 34.5 kilo Spanish mackerel. Again, I tried to swim over it quickly and grab it just in case the spear didn't go through, and you wouldn't believe it, my camera fell off my head again. Halfway to the surface, I noticed that the camera had fallen off my head, saw it on the bottom, had to turn back down with that big mackerel in my hand. I picked up that camera off the bottom, swam back to the boat, Lee filming from the boat, grabbed my camera. This thing was just a big, fat toad. I love big mackerel. Even cooler part, those mackerel over there don't have cicatera. I haven't picked him up. My camera fell off halfway to the surface and I grabbed my camera. My camera off the bottom.
Fuck, he's a good Mackie, eh?
You!
Don't even move.
And then the camera fell off onto the bottom. Can you believe that? We wrapped up the day there, put the boat on the trailer, and we headed off home. Unfortunately, got home too late, so we couldn't do our chores that we really needed to do. When we woke up the next morning, oh my goodness, that cyclone was already affecting Exmouth in a big way. I'd never actually seen rain in Exmouth before, but it was pouring.
Very exciting.
one day, cyclone the next.
The wind was blowing. It was absolutely insane. We had to take the boats and put them in a big shed, big cyclone shed. So we did that. Then it was time for pack up at home. Had to clean everything up, everything out of the backyard, pack it into the shed. And then we'll sit inside and wait it out. I'm not sure how I got volunteered to be the one in the middle of the cyclone to go out and get the beers. I don't even drink. I had to go get the boys' beers. They sent me out, the East Coaster, getting all the beers out of the esky and chucking them in through the window. This was actually supposed to be the day of the wedding. We had to postpone to the next day. And by dark that night, that cyclone was right upon us. It was absolutely crazy. First cyclone I've been blessed enough to sit through. I hope you've enjoyed this Western Australian series. There's been some really cool fish shot. Diving with my mates, as always, with Bri, with Lee Mitchell, one of my really good friends, with the Cooper brothers. Thanks, Coops. You boys are absolute legends. We had an absolute blast. Thanks for having us in Western Australia. Now, thank you again for all those that watch, for all those that are commenting, for all those that are sending me messages. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Quick reminder before you go, Christmas is really, really close. I know there's heaps of specials on, but you can also get your 10% discount with Tim Spear at Adreno. Get all your Rife gear right there. You'll be absolutely stoked with that Rife gear. Now, as always, heading into Christmas, I hope you are getting in the water lots. Hope you're getting some fish. Hope you're getting out there, getting some fish for Christmas dinner. Get some lobsters. I know it's going to be an amazing thing. Get out, get into it.